Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, How GruntWorks Can Save You Time and Money. Who doesn't want to save time and money? My name is Gary Dehart, and I am the publisher of Insightful Accountant and Tax Practice News. I want to say thanks to our presenter, Brian Unger, I'll just have him introduce himself after I cover the housekeeping items, which are, this session is CPE eligible. And like with any CPE webinar, you have to be present for 50 minutes, 50 minutes, and you need to be engaged in the process. And we monitor your engagement, or you can show your engagement by participating in at least 3 of the polling questions. I believe we have 5. You will need to participate in 3 of the polling questions and be present for 50 minutes. So if you have any questions, we ask you to put them into the questions panel, which you should see down in the bottom tray of your screen. The link to the recording will be sent to you after this is over, and it can also be found on our YouTube channel. And also, once I go dark and go off screen and turn this over to Brian, I will put both the link to the YouTube channel and a copy of the presentation into the chat. So you'll be able to find those in chat. Typically, we have people kind of midway through look for it. I'll post it back in there as well. So again, we'll send you the link to the recording. We'll send you a copy of this PDF of the presentation, but it will also be placed in the chat. So without further delay, I'll go ahead and turn this over to Brian and let him tell us a little bit about himself and then move on with the presentation. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Gary. Hello. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. My name is Brian Unger. I am with GruntWorks. Really excited to be joining you guys today here with Insightful Accounting to platform our presentation here to get our message out for how GruntWorks can certainly save you time, effort, and you during a stressful tax season. Insightful is a wonderful tool for updates and knowledge in the industry, and they really do a fantastic job of keeping everything kind of front and center for people in the business. You guys have access to some great material through them. So I really want to just say thank you to them and to Gary for all they do and for today, of course. Gary told me to open up with a joke, keep things light. That's the joke, Gary. Gary would not tell me to open up with a joke. I've spoken with him too many times. I think he knows enough about me to know that my jokes wouldn't be suited. It'd be just ridiculous, and you guys would log off and leave. But maybe if everyone at the end, if you guys are just an awesome audience, I know you're going to be, maybe I'll share a joke at the end. How about that? Something to see, there's something, even more than CPE, there's more to hold out for at the end. Okay, now, as I understand it, there is a Q&A and a chat room function available kind of situation, so feel free to ask those questions there throughout the webinar. I'm going to do my best to answer those as we go. I hope to have a couple minutes at the end, even maybe to answer some questions as well if needed. So please be patient with me. If you do ask one and I don't get to it until the end, I promise we'll get those questions answered at some point. Even if I have to chase you down afterwards, I'll find you and get those questions answered because we want them to come through for sure. But yeah, let's dive in and get started. I'd love to go through this process with you again, how GruntWorks can save you time and money. Sharing my screen. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. But a quick agenda for today's presentation here. We're going to touch on a brief overview of GruntWorks, who we are, what we do, and then we'll discuss the GruntWorks difference and how we attempt to put ourselves ahead of the pack, so to speak. And then we're going to jump into that demonstration so you can see the product in action. Now, I am most likely going to be showing you 2 different software integrations today because we have different uses based on your tax software. Drake software users, for example, they have an integrated option with GruntWorks that is directly in their software. And every other software user must go through our web-based application through gruntworks.com. So I'm going to show you actually each of those briefly just to make sure everyone knows where to go based on the software that you use. Overview of GruntWorks. Now, GruntWorks is a scan and fill technology, and we use automation to assist with your tax prep for the 1040 return. Using our products is going to allow automation in your office to remove steps that you and your staffers have to deal with on a daily basis. Give those preparatory steps to Gruntworks. Get them off your shoulders and allow for improved productivity in the office. We are based entirely in the United States on the East Coast. Actually, we're in Hampton, New Hampshire, Nashville, Tennessee, and in Franklin, North Carolina. And this is what we do 365 days a year. We're here to help during the most stressful times of a stressful tax season. And think of us as a helpful tool for your office flow that's going to save you time and energy like we were talking about. Now this, I like that. This is a nice little visual to see the return preparation life cycle. This is each step of the manual process, starting with of a return that comes through the door, starting with the document gathering to organization and data entry, electronic filing, finishing the return, and the document storage that will, of course, follow. And finally, client communication and return delivery, signatures, and all that. And of course, the process starts over as a new client comes in, right? So looking at this, of course, I circled that little portion there, data entry and organization. If that is where you choose to automate your office, Gruntworks is for you. Now, I like this little picture of the return preparation lifecycle. I like it because it shows you the basic manual processes for a return. And you may list those steps differently. They may not look the same for you in your office. And I really encourage you to look over those steps in your office. List them out based on your daily intake and how your office flow kind of works. Find where automation could benefit you and eliminate those manual processes that you're doing. Get it off your shoulders, as I said earlier. Give it to us, because Gruntworks, in the section of the process that we automate, we can help. All right, so we're going to jump into polling question number 1. Have you automated any part of your practice? Gary's going to all the tips of the trade here.
And we'll close this out in a couple more seconds. All right, we'll wrap it up 3, 2, and 1. And it looks like right now, Brian, we got 25% said yes, I've automated the majority of my processes, and 75% have said no, but I am interested in doing so.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, great. This is me and Gary's first time doing a webinar like this, so we're learning together. We're doing great. We're doing great. Okay, on to the next one. So the Gruntworks difference. The difference is our validation, our workflow, and our easy adoption. Validated products allow for higher accuracy of what you receive back. We utilize OCR technology, that is optical character recognition technology, as well as Gruntworks staffers for that validation. Now, this grants us far improved accuracy over just technology alone. Our workflow is going to enable you to use applications that you're probably already using in your office today. The things you need are Adobe Acrobat or some type of, PDF reader. There's so many out there. You need a scanner, Microsoft Excel, and of course your tax prep software, right? And as long as you've got those things, you are ready to get started. We want our products to be easily adopted into your everyday workflow without a lot of hassle, whether that's at the office or your remote workstation. Bottom line, I love this, Gruntworks frees preparers, reviewers, and partners to focus on more billable work. Time saved, well, money saved. This is the purpose of our webinar here today. Going too fast. Managing expectations. Now, I always like to just touch on this a tish. Gruntworks can be a valuable asset for your company, but it is important to set realistic expectations for implementation. So saving time and effort on every prepared return, obvious value, right? But getting to that point requires managed expectations. Learn and understand what we do here at Gruntworks. What gets imported into your return? How do the documents look coming back? What's the difference between validated and non-validated products, etc. Now, you guys are off to a phenomenal start by joining this webinar, and that's why I'm so glad you're here with us. I know it's, first week of February, and this is, time is precious at this point, so I really appreciate you guys coming and joining us today. But this is the purpose. You can learn. It's not scary. It's just a new tool in the office. Here, on to polling question number 2. How much experience do you have with scan, organize, and fill technologies? There, excuse me.
All right, Brian, and actually everybody has answered here, and they're saying actually 100% have used similar technologies in the past.
Wonderful, wonderful. Oh, that's fantastic. That's wonderful. Shows you guys are tech savvy on the ball. I like to hear that. Well, then this next slide point might not necessarily speak to everybody here, but it's something that we get a lot. Keep calm and relax. Gruntworks is here to help you, not hinder or be a problem. Now, these are some of the things that we hear every year when we chat with people. Probably too hard, or I'm not good with computers. I just think it's too much to understand. What do I do if this happens or that happens? You know, listen, fear and worry, it is normal, and there's nothing wrong with questions or concerns. There's software and technologies out there that are quite the task to navigate through and learn. But Gruntworks is not going to tax you like that. We try to keep the steps simple, and after your initial setup, it's pretty standard on how to work the process. Of course, I'm going to go through all those steps shortly, but I hope that as you guys are pretty experienced, don't let new deter you from something great. You know, we're all creatures of habit, and it can be easy to say, well, this is just how I've always done it. You know, I just plug away, I dive in, work my fingers off, and 15-hour days are totally normal, et cetera. And, you know, if Gruntworks can be a tool for you to remove some of that, we've done our job. And that's kind of the mindset of work smarter, not harder, is what we want to convey. It's funny to me, you know, many times people say, I just don't think I need your services, you know, and that's fine. You know, that's their opinion. They could have tons of staffers, and data entry is not really a concern. Organization, they've got a flow that works through. I used to work in a financial institution where we keep taxes, and we used the basket method. If you guys ever, some of you may still use the basket method, I don't know, but that was what we did. And you know, it was one of those things that some people don't have that concern for automation, but I know there's always even that one person who walks in and has an abundance of something. There's a young lady who's a customer of ours. She sends us one client of hers every year. Client brings in an average of 300 W-2Gs every year. You know, and maybe that's an extreme example, perhaps, but she dumps that off on us. I don't have time. None of my staffers have time for this guy or gal, whomever the client is. Maybe you have a client that's coming to your mind. You know, think on that. Okay. Polling question number 3, because we're going to talk about scanners next. What kind of scanner do you guys use?
All right, and answers are in. You've got 50% using Fujitsu or Ricoh, and the other 50% other. So nobody using Canon. Talk to them about Canon there, Brian.
Gary's going to have a little bit of his feelings hurt because nobody said Canon. Canon's pretty great. We've had a lot of good years with Canon, and they certainly are good scanners to have in your system. We had a nice one. Gary probably remembers the code. I can't remember the exact number, but I had it on my desk for a while. Somebody, of course, needed it more than I. It got moved around the office. The 225, 226, 60, something like that. Anyway, but a really good scanner, Twain compliant. You know, a lot of good features that came to it. So yeah, don't hurt Gary's feelings going forward. Maybe tell a fib going forward. He won't be upset. but all great choices, truly all great choices with scanners. Fujitsu, Canon, Brother, and we're going to jump into some of our settings here with our scanning requirements. Now, at Gruntworks, we do not require you to purchase a particular brand or model of scanner. Our scanning requirements or our settings are considered best practices for your image system and for keeping an accurate paperless environment. Now, if you currently have a scanner in your office, which you guys do, check and see it, make sure it meets these 3 requirements that you see in front of you. You need to be able to scan in 300 DPI, that's dots per inch if you're ever on Jeopardy. I sat through a meeting with Gary once and I didn't know it, and they kept saying DPI, and I thought, oh, I don't know what that means. But you 300 DPI, it's a sweet spot. Scan in black and white, and make sure there are no password protections placed on the documents. Passwords are fine for just your records in-house, but if you ever need to upload them to a file storage program or maybe to a scan and fill technology like Gruntworks, the passwords would prevent most of those programs from opening your files. So these are a great way to ensure your scanning documents and paperless records will be accurate and certainly not unable to read. If you ever do just need some more information on scanning and the correct kind of procedures based on our recommendations, head over to gruntworks.com, and under resources, this is a little image of our website, but it's under resources, there's a scanning option that will take you to this location that you see here, and there's a lot of good information there. There's some scanners that we personally recommend, and we even got a couple Canons on there for Gary, but please take a look at that if you need some more info there. All right, let's go over our product line with Gruntworks. So now we offer 6 products at Gruntworks that you can choose before submitting for each client and each return. And I'm just going to briefly kind of go over these, a little bit about them, just kind of what they do real quick here. The Organize Lite product gives you a labeled and indexed, fully searchable PDF of your client's source documents. Now, this option only goes through the OCR technology we were talking about earlier. Because of that, you should receive your documents back within 5 minutes or less. This is a great option for clearing out those past year's returns from the filing cabinet. Populate Lite, this is an OCR only importing option. So this imports those federal forms into your tax software for your client's return. And we basically, with this, we provide you with your very own self-validation tool, very similar to what our staffers use to ensure that basically what comes through the OCR technology is accurate before you import it into Gruntworks. All right, now we're moving over into the validated options here. So Organize gives you the same labeled and indexed, fully searchable PDF of your client source documents, just like the Lite product does. Part of this product goes through our validation staff, hence the validated. So your documents coming back to you are far more accurate for your records to keep. Moving on into Populate, again, our importing feature, and this is our most popular product, is that blue, dark blue Populate there. Now you still receive the PDF of your client's documents organized when you choose Populate or Populate Lite. But again, with the Populate, we import those federal tax forms into your client's return in your software. And then finally, our trades and our trade details and trade summary product, is an add-on option for either our organized product or the Populate and Populate Lite product. Now, this add-on is going to list from your brokerage statements or from a 1099-B the detail of a stock transaction for the 8949. So if you're an office or a person that wants that detail listed, just line by line by line of those sales, this is certainly a product for you. Or perhaps the summary totals from those same documents to import into the 8949. If you choose that trade summary product, maybe you're not a fan of the detail of each sale. You have the option to use that summary as well. So this is a great choice based on your office's needs. We're about to see the validated products that I just went over. I'm going to go over those demonstration. I'm not going to be diving into the light products in this particular presentation. We actually have some webinars through our website dedicated specifically to the organize and populate light products. So I really encourage you guys to check those out if perhaps OCR only is your main focus and goal for automation in your offices. You can also reach out to our sales line. I'm going to put that up at the end of the presentation so that we can run through a live demonstration of those products or any of our products with you if you're ever curious to see a little bit more. A subtle hint that it's time to do our demo. Let me see here. I gotta bring this guy around. Hello. So that is our main web page. This is gruntworks.com. And if and when you guys are ever hoping to get started and check out our free trial, just right here in the middle of the screen, enter your email to begin typing your email there and click the free trial button, and that's going to take you to create your username and password and the like. So that'll get you started there. Now I'm already in, so what I'm going to do, what you do after that is come to log in up here at the top. Just log in, please. Look at this. So this brought up what we call the GruntWorks dashboard. Now this is the web-based application, again, for people who are using software that is not Drake software. And you come to the GruntWorks dashboard, and you see it just listed. We've got all these clients right here listed. And this is where you're going to upload their files and receive their documents back. So this is where everything kind of goes. This is like home base, like I said. Now, quickly, I am going to go through a few little tips and tricks of how to get started. Just going to quickly go through those. Again, the goal here is to make sure that you are not worried about diving into something, just to make it show the ease of everything going through. So we'll show you just those steps. The first thing I want to talk about, the first thing to do is to download the agent, the GruntWorks agent. The GruntWorks agent that you have to download is an annual download. Every January we release a new one because we run security audits and updates on it. So every January you have to download one. Typically for every user, every computer that uses GruntWorks must download. And this is the secure tunnel that we communicate with your software. We're integrated in software, but we can't see your software. We can't see and look in there and see anything. But what we do is we communicate by sending the files to and from to import into your client's return. So this is the agent that we do that with. So you have to download that. Next over here is settings. Let's click on that. And that opens up a few options here. So we've got user settings, just some basic things here, contact information, your job status notification. This is nice. You can get a text or an email that just tells you of your choosing, just so that you can know when a client's job is finished. And you get a very generic, hey, John Smith's documents are good to go from Gruntworks, that kind of thing. Change your password, that kind of stuff, basic settings. Next one over is admin settings, and you can set up some preferences here, your two-factor authentication if you want to do that for security purposes. Managing accounts. Now, managing accounts, that was initially set up for offices with multiple locations. So if you had, for example, the Phoenix office or the Santa Fe office or the Tucson office or whatever it might be, then you could list the clients under a specific tab based on where they live to find them a little easier. User preference there is all, but you can utilize that. I've seen even people, Janie's clients and Johnny's clients and Becky's clients as you see fit. You can leave them all under one. That's fine too. Managing users. Now this one's important because you can click here and add as many users as you would like. I know some people have told me in the past they're a little confused and they said, well, I get charged the number of users I have. No, that's not accurate at all. You can have as many users as you would like under your Gruntworks umbrella of your firm name. You can make everyone a admin user or a regular user. The difference is when you click settings, An admin user can see all these tabs, and a user can only see this first basic information. Also, an admin user can purchase Gruntworks, a user cannot. And then the last one is inventory, a little monthly kind of statement that'll show you how much you spent and, for that month. You can even come up here and, go back a little ways and pull a CSV file and download that and say, hey, what did I spend on Gruntworks last year? A lot of people are doing that now, as you can imagine, and refilling the balance in order to get started. So those are our quick run through of our settings there. Next thing I want to go through here are these big icons right here. And this one's good. It's tutorials. Looks like a little medi bag there, and it's tutorials that take you to our website. We've got some quick start guides and some nice user videos that'll help if you ever get stuck. That's a nice feature there. Filtering clients, but the one I really want to show you, it looks like a driver's license here. That's kind of tiny. But this is a way that you can, using an export import feature with a CSV file, you can export up to 500 clients at a time from your software to be imported into Gruntworks. Basic information, so they'll be housed here in the Gruntworks application, so that when you're ready, you can just find your client and submit those documents. The CSV file, when you export it from your software, has to be in the format of last name, first name, spouse name if applicable, and then the client ID. That client ID has got to match what's in your software, because that is how we integrate. As I said before, it's not magic. When we hit populate, which you'll see in a few moments, on client 889162, it's going to import into client 889162. This is kind of how we do it. So this is kind of the format that we need that in, and you can pull those in at 500 clients a time. You should be able to do that, hopefully, depending on how many clients you have, in one or two fell swoops. And then if, throughout the season, if you had a walk-in, a new customer come in, a new client, and you added them in your UltraTax or something, added them in, you could come to this, head with a plus beside it and click that, and just basic information there. It gets to the client ID, put that in as long as it's there first, and you'll be good to go. They'll be there ready for you. So yeah, that's the basic process. Those are kind of the basic steps that I really just wanted to go through with you for getting started and getting set up with Gruntworks on the web-based application. So the next step is to show the process. So let's say at this point, what's happened here? Our client has walked in and handed us a big shoebox full of documents that they've been collecting eagerly for a couple months. Heaven forbid, they're a trash bag, or I've heard all kinds of stories that are just terrible. But let's say, however you receive them, whether you use a secure tunnel or a portal or an email or whatever it might be that you have securely getting your files into you, or you've been handed papers, you've got those, and we accept PDFs. So we're going to find our client here. We'll click on Nick down here. So let's click on Nick, and then we can either drag and drop those files in this little perforated window on the left, or we can just click that box there, and that's going to open. That just took me to my desktop, is where I keep it for demo. So I'm going to add this PDF, and it'll take you to where those go. Shot those files right over into the uploaded file slot. Now we can add 15 files at 150 megabytes per submission. So 15 at 150. So a lot of size, good size for files that you can submit. So a lot of room that you can keep adding. Even if they brought you more, if they brought you a bunch of small ones, just keep adding up to 15. So, until that's in, that's per submission, 15 at 150. Next step is to come down. Let's say our files are in there, and we can choose our product. Next one down here. So we've got in orange, non-validated. Well, that's the light versions, obviously says there. We got populate light or organize light. Coming over, we can come to validated by Gruntworks. We've got populate, or of course organize. And remember, we still get, when we choose populate, we still get the organization product. We could choose either one. And then over at the trades option in green, so we've got extract all, the detail of those sales listed, trade summary, or you know what? No trade. I don't need any of those. I don't have a client that has that. Nick's not gonna have that today. And just to be clear, there's just a point. If you ever do choose trade summary, because some people choose that as a default, they want the summary or to extract all for every time that something comes through. If they have it, they want the details listed or the summary. If you did have that highlighted and you submitted something that did not have any brokerages or 1099Bs to extract information from, any sales detail or anything, you wouldn't be charged anything for it. If there's nothing to extract, there's nothing to charge you for the trades product. So you can keep that up if you choose. But okay, so we've got our product chosen. Again, our files are in there. We're ready. We're going to click submit down there in the bottom in green. Job is in progress. It was submitted by me. How about that? We could close out of this if we want. We could close out of Gruntworks if we wanted. We could go add to a different client whenever we needed, because that job is going to come to us in the background. Quickly, just a little housekeeping. If you ever did need, there's a feature here, add expedited service. Now, the point of that is, if you ever have, imagine this as adding second day air to a shipping at UPS or something, right? With that, if you choose expedited service, that would give you, it guarantees your documents coming back to you within 24 hours or less. Now, there is a fee for doing so, trying to keep that expedited job queue low, of course, but that's why we say for emergencies if that ever comes up. Over here, a little more, if this little gear icon, I know it's small, but if you click that, some options here. What if you sent the wrong files to Nick? You said, oh, what have we done? Right over here, cancel job, click that right, job has been canceled. Just like that. When you're ready to get your Nick's correct file, reset the client, he's cleared out and you're good to go from there on. So all kinds of features there when you're, as you're going through. We get a lot of sometimes nervous calls there at the end when people are saying, oh, I think I sent the wrong one, cancel. And there is an option to you. You can call us still. We'll do our best, but there's features there for you too. Now let me find my test file here. There we go. Okay. So we got John and Jane 10, and this one's completed. So let's say at this point we've got our text or our email that said documents are good to go. They're ready from Gruntworks. We're going to click on that, open this up, and here we've got two files sitting waiting for us. A bookmarked PDF, point sheet, an XLS spreadsheet here. Let's open those up, take a peek there. So we've got our bookmarked PDF. Oh, there it is. And there we go. So this is what you're going to get back every time. Organized source document, nice cover sheet, client name, date created, the pages processed, submissions number. Keep an eye on that, the number of submissions, because we'll talk on that in a little more. This is one. But this is what you get back every time. And over on the left, these bookmarks listed by the payer name in the order of a 1040, easily accessible, no matter how you sent your documents in, now in the order of a 1040. I'll kind of just click through them a little bit. Wages, W-2, interest income with the 1099 INT. And you see Capital One, Wells Fargo, Emprise Bank, easy to navigate and go through. BIV, we've got our Merrill Lynch, Capital Gain. Well, this is obviously for our trades products here for the Merrill Lynch, so you'll see that in a minute too. Retirement, 1099Rs, A1, 1099G, marketplace under medical, mortgages. If you guys have organizers tax organizers in your office, you can list those. We'll basically just have a subfooter of organizer and then the number of pages within that are there. And then the last one here, supporting documents, mileage reimbursement forms, receipts, handwritten notes, property tax statements, bank statements, letters, property tax notices rather, you know, anything that doesn't fit kind of that rubric mold of the 1040, it's going to be under here, under supporting documents. So still easily to find, still nice and pretty and put together for you for your records or to print out for your clients, saving you the steps of flipping and fumbling through returns and merging files. It is a fully searchable document. So if I type in bank here, I hit my Control F, took me somewhere. There it is. I'm up in the organizer, but it'll take you through. You can find it wherever it might be, and it's going to walk you through the process. But this is what you get back every time, no matter what you send us. It's big every time I open it. And it is a nice feature to have either for your clients, like I said, for your review process, or just to sit and key everything you have. Okay, so that was our bookmarked PDF that we got back. Next is the point sheet. I want to say I opened that. Well, I did. Okay. This is something. So we've got an Excel spreadsheet. No surprise there. But the first page has some information on it. There's diagnostics. But look down first down here at the bottom. You've got these tabs. Diagnostics, W-2, 1099, INT, DIV. These are all those forms that you just saw in the organization product, right? So this is going to show everything that we extracted off those forms. Let's go through that real quick and look. But first, I want to show you this. Professional review required. Missing owner, social security number, correct and unchecked to populate. 1099 INT, and that's hyperlink. It'll take you to that if you have your page 6. If you have your organization product open, it'll take you right there to see what we're talking about. But this diagnostic is good to have for when you're something's maybe looking a little funny on our end. 90% of the time, it might be nothing, but it's always good to give it a 1-star. Again, the missing social security number, that could be one that was highlight. Yeah, they X'd out more than the last 4 and didn't match. Who knows? Typically, we see this one that's a real situation when parents maybe had their kids W-2 from a summer job and they threw it in there and they said, well, we don't recognize this one. Things like that happens. But sometimes it is something good to know and take heed of, and we definitely make sure you kind of clear these out and make sure everything's okay. For example, we only import the current tax year with the current tax software with our Populate products. So with that, you might see that John and Jane got a little excited and they threw their 1098 in there from last year. So they got a 2021 form. It was an incorrect tax year, did not populate. So certainly good to give a look over. But let's jump through these tabs just a bit. So we got our W-2 here listed, that information there for you that we pulled. The 1099 INT. Oh, that was the one that we had. So there's no social listed here, and that's probably just not including it in the. That particular one was a little smudgy, perhaps. But if I want, I could uncheck this box, pull that X off. If I knew it was good to go, take it off, and it'll import that information. But if that X is still there, it's not going to import. If I ever didn't want the entire page to import, I could click this X up here, and the whole thing wouldn't import. So it's a workbook. You can make changes, corrections, whatever you need to here. And I keep kind of going through. 1099 DIV, consolidated, the trades. Oh, this is our trades product. This is the details listed of the trades, and I'll show you the summary here in a minute. Should have one was open. Give me. But this is the details listed from that Merrill Lynch statement that you saw line by line. Keep going here. 1099Rs, K1, the mortgage and the good old marketplace here. Let's say we've gone through, we made sure those diagnostics were clear, we made sure everything was good, it looks great, we're happy, we're ready to go. Now, again, I'm using UltraTax for this particular demonstration here, so I've got UltraTax open. I'm going to click the Populate button when I'm ready, and that's going to open up the UltraTax software, and with that, we use the source data entry screen, and it kind of starts feeding through, and it's kind of neat to see the process. Try to sign me out. But you'll start seeing the process kind of flow through into that source data entry screen to then import into your UltraTax software. Maybe you won't mind some that. Let's try this. Hit that button. I'm too impatient. That's what it is. Try that again. Here we go. Second time, John. Thinking hard. You guys' computers probably are put together a little better than mine. I bet you yours just flows through like nothing. I'm confident it's going to look pretty as soon as we get it. And then quickly, I'm going to dive into Drake, and we're going to show you that process, and then we'll go from there. Somebody just answer live. Somebody just asked a good question. Does this import work with UltraTax Virtual Office in the cloud? We do work with the Virtual Office. It's a little different. You do have to, well, honestly, it's giving me a fit, you guys. You do have to, use still the local version of UltraTax, and then basically back it up into Virtual Office. There's a couple steps that we have tips and tricks to do that. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, it was Brian who asked this question. Brian, to be perfectly honest with you, some people love that feature because it constantly backs up their client's information into the source of the local version. And I do know some folks who find it a little bit more tedious to use that, but we got a lot of people who do enjoy our products with the Virtual Office. But if you're ever curious, I have some instructions I can send you on that steps and tips and tricks that we have. So I can shoot that to you later. But yeah, good question. Kids, I don't know what I did. I couldn't get it to go in there. I might have made some changes here that I shouldn't have, but I was getting a little too impatient. I thought I'd click on it, and I think I might have made a mistake. But anyway, I don't want to hunker too much on it, but we'll keep going. Quickly, I want to just say, over here on the right, again, this gear, this is kind of a great way to go. If you ever have, when you're done, download all completed forms, because this is your files to keep, so you can go there. But let's say John or Jane came back through and they said, hey, whoops, I forgot a stack of 1099s or whatever it might be, and you've already gone through those steps, imported into UltraTax and everything, and yours worked, unlike mine. You can prepare for resubmission and submit new documents to go through, and then you'll get a new point sheet with the new forms that might be there, and you'll get a new organized source documents that'll say submission 2 with a new date, that'll have those new forms merged into the correct spot they're supposed to be for the 1040 order. So if you ever do have someone come back through, you can do that for sure. Now again, I was going to go open the Drake product and go through those steps there, so let me do that real quick. You guys probably don't have clients that come back more than once. Okay, so here in Drake, same process. Somebody's walked in, they've handed you your documents, or you've received them back through the portal, or somehow you go through, you click on the GruntWorks icon to start. Pretty basic, right? GruntWorks. So we're going to select our client. As long as they're in Drake, they're going to be in this little kind of digital Rolodex that pulls down. So create them there first if you haven't already. Same choices. Organize line, populate line in our non-validated option. Create details or summary for pop light. Down to validated options. Organize or populate. Summary, trade detail, whatever we might want. We still got the option to expedite a job if we need that emergency situation. And then we come down and we can add our files. A little different with Drake. You can add up to 10 files per client, 50 megabytes a pop. So you can add those 10. So hopefully you can get those in per submission. And again, as you saw earlier, you can always resubmit. It's not the end of the world. Worst case there is, the next step there is after you get those files added is adding your email address down here. But once you enter it once, it'll remember your email. Now, I will say something, and Gary will like this for the scanning. With Drake, you have an option for a scan button here. If you have a Twain compliant scanner, and Fujitsu's are, if you have that option and it's set up, you can put your papers on the scanner feeder and click the scan button here, and it will use it. See, I don't have one, obviously. But maybe we do. We might set one up. But anyway, so you learn something new every day when you're here. That's what insightful accounting does. It just teaches you all kinds of new things. But that will pull directly from the pages that you chose and put on your scanner top to put in their file. So you don't have to find a specific file or pull file. You can just specifically do those pages. Again, it's a Twain, Twain, like Mark Twain, compliant scanner. So check with your settings on yours if it meets that. If you're a Drake user here and you got that feature. Email in, last step, we'll hit submit, uploading job. We do demos. So yes, we've already done this job. Yes, of course. Uploading the job. Uploads complete, we'll close. How about that? So that was the format for the Drake softwares, and this window here, job status over here. And I clicked on this step. The first one that came up was submit. This is job status. And you look, this one's pending, the one I just sent. Now what happens, same thing we talked about earlier, what happens if I sent the wrong files? Right click, cancel job. How do you like that? Job's been canceled. Pretty easy, huh? But with it, I've got one here that's completed. And I'm going to click him, download. All that that information is going to be downloaded to the Drake Documents Manager, the blue guy up here. I'll be here under a little subfolder of the client. I won't go through everything here, but you see the same kind of features. And we had a PDF, that's the organization product. A diagnostics file came up with this one, and the trade sheet. We've got all kinds of things that you'll see here. Same as you saw in the point sheet, just a little different setup. The XML file, by the way, is just the coding that imports in your Drake return. So that, I don't think that hurts anything to open it, but it looks like a bunch of computer bubble if you click on that. So anyway, same files to keep here or to save and put in your digital storage, whatever you might need. And then we can open this client, and look what happens. Gruntworks populate job was located for this client because we downloaded it. It's ready to go. Click that import button. I'm going to import. Diagnostic file exists. You want to review it? You know what? No. You know what it is, right? You might get this for Drake situations because incorrectly formatted information because we use punctuation. Don't say it anyway. Trade job's been located, and how about that? That is an example of our summary. That's the trade summary product. But anyway, the trade summary product, they have those proceeds, costs, wash loss, if applicable, those kind of things. So we're going to import that in there. And Mr. Demo's account is all blue where it wasn't before. So now we've got our W-2. That information is keyed in there correctly and accurately. The income, 8949. I listed those summary totals just like you saw. Easily imported in there, just a few clicks of the mouse. And I went through that pretty quick right there, but hopefully you can see that that's just a few steps and not going to be too taxing on you. I don't mean to throw the taxing pun in there. But, all right, well, I'll frozen this up. Well, let's jump back in here. We've got to go over what's that next. Let's do our polling question number 4. Polling question number 4. What tax software do you use? Great.
All right, we're going to wrap this up in about 3 more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. You had 67% were using UltraTax, and the other 1/3 is other. So if you wouldn't mind, whoever put in other, drop that in the chat or into the Q&A just to let us know which software you do use.
Yeah, thank you, Gary. Appreciate that, you guys. Yeah, good UltraTax users, and I think UltraTax was one of our first, if not the first, integration that we had. So definitely love our Thompson folks. I hope I can get to work for you guys, but again, we'll talk about that. We currently here at Gruntworks integrate with 6 different tax software for the Populate and Populate Lite products. Remember, these are the products that's going to import that information into your software. These are as follows: Drake Tax, obviously, Go System, CCH Pro System, and CCH Access. Of course, your UltraTax and now, if we do try to add additional software as often as we can to kind of increase our list and grow. So if we don't have your specific software listed here, those who chose other, do not lose heart. You never know if that's our next one we'll add. Quickly, here's a list of our supported forms that we will import based on your software. You can find this, of course, on our website. And if anybody would like a copy of this, or of course you can have access to this as a PDF, this PowerPoint I'm using that Gary's going to provide for you, so you'll have that information. And also, don't forget, anyone can use our Organize and Trades products. So if you ever need an automation in the form of document organization to sort the details of those stock transactions or the totals like we saw, those brokerages during season, you're still able to use Gruntworks. Briefly going to go over our pricing structure, and then we'll do our final polling question. So our pricing is based on the volume that you submit to us, number of pages, number of forms, and number of trades carry a total charge. So a 300-page return costs more than a 30-page return, obviously, right? And when you first sign up to test Gruntworks out, you're going to be signing up for that free trial like I showed you. And at this point, we deposit $40 into your Gruntworks account balance for you to test a couple returns out and see if it's a fit for you and your office flow. Cost of each job uploaded is debited from your Gruntworks account balance. Then you can refill the balance as you see fit, like a postage meter might do, right? No minimums to keep in the account, no monthly fees, no annual signups or anything like that. It is a pay-as-you-play pricing structure. Quickly, I'm going to break down this cost. Organize Lite, 10 cents for every page submitted. Populate, 20 cents a page. These are non-validated options. Organize into validated, 40 cents for every page submitted. Populate is $1 per federal form that you saw in that list to extract and import into your software, but also 40 cents per page. So W-2 is actually $1.40 to come through because we organize it and it's a form. Trade details, 20 cents for every line, items listed to validate for the validated process, and the trade summary, $3 flat rate charge for every brokerage statement or 1099-B that we summarize. And that's on top as an add-on, these two, on top of the page and form cost that came through. You can use Gruntworks for every client that walks through the door. Perhaps you only need Gruntworks for those clients with specific needs and situations throughout the year or the season. Much or as little as you need us, Gruntworks is here to help. That's why we do that pay as you play style pricing structure. All right, we did it. Polling question number 5, last one. What actions or steps do you plan to take as a result of this webinar?
right, we'll give a couple more seconds and we'll go ahead and close that out. 3, 2, and 1.
All right, thank you, Gary. That I was going to look and see if we had questions. Actually, I didn't see any. I answered one throughout season, but I didn't see any. So we will say that is the end of our presentation. Gary, I think we made the time work. We're right at 3, but we started a little late. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I was a little nervous to be here and present to you fine folks today. In fact, I was up all night wondering where the sun went. Then it dawned on me.
You're going to end with that.
That was bad. that was. I told you I'd save the joke for the end. Come on, people are logging off. This is terrible. That's why I saved it for last. No, I thank you guys so much. Again, the title of this was How Gruntworks Can Save You Time and Money. I hope you can see the importance of time saved, losing data entry, losing the flipping and fumbling of documents and merging files. I hope you'll see the opportunity cost of adding time back to your day. But I really appreciate you guys being here, Gary. I thank you so much for letting us come through Insightful Accounting to do this. Again, please reach out to our sales line, our sales department, if you have further questions or if you just need a hand. We're happy to help.
Great. Well, thank you, Brian. And just as a reminder, the replay of this will be available on Insightful Accountant's YouTube page. The presentation or the slide deck is also available. Both of those are in the chat. So if you want to download those before we close out, go ahead and do that. But you will receive an email from us that has a link to the YouTube page as well as a link to our box folder with the copy of the presentation in it as well. If you do want or need CPE for this session, everyone will receive an email with a link to a short survey, and it's just basic survey that we need to provide CPE. Just ask about the presentation itself. Complete that survey. I think it's 3 questions, and then you will receive your CPE certificate emailed back to you at the same email address that you used for this webinar. So thank you, everyone, for spending an hour with us today. I hope this is something you can take it back to your practice. Hopefully, use it in your practice, and so you can free up your time. I can't remember how you put it earlier, Brian, but free up time to do revenue producing task, I think is one of the things you had mentioned. So with that said, we certainly appreciate everyone's time and wish you all a happy tax season. Thanks.